Hi, Julie Cole. This is Laura Leslie, and this is week 5 of my Freedom Practicum experience with Pastor Brady Daniel. And this week, we had the privilege of Jeremy Farmer coming and speaking to our class about Gateway's healing ministry. And he talked about how healing is freedom, and how now that they have implemented where people, before they even get prayed for, they will go into this room and have a chance to connect with God, which is awesome because He is the ultimate healer. So after they've had time to connect with God, then people will come in and lay their hands on them for prayer, for healing. And during this discussion, he brought us back to Mark chapter 5, verses 25 through 35, and we talked about how the lady that was uncleaned for like 12 years just wanted to touch the hem of Jesus's garment, and Jesus said, "Who touched me?" After she had touched him. So that was really cool. That they brought that scripture to mind. So he also talked about how, like, shifting your focus on that it's really about touching the person's heart rather than seeing actual physical healing, and looking at that as a gain versus a loss. When somebody comes in and doesn't see healing, not looking at that as a loss, but as we touch this person's heart, and that should be the most important part. And he talked about how healing is just like salvation. We freely receive it. Can we receive both the same way, and do you fully believe? And he also gave us some scenarios and asked each of us individually if who we would want to pick that scenario. So that he gave us like real life scenarios of just like one lady with lung cancer that was 47 years old. There was another where another female that had like 5-time cancer survivor, suffered from depression and anxiety, bipolar, her husband just died. Or there was another female that had tremors with permanent side effects from medications. There was another a grandfather and a grandmother were praying for their grandbaby for healing, and literally in their form that they would fill out, they said they didn't want to hear from God, or they didn't believe that God still spoke. And then there was another scenario, but we had to pick which one we would rather minister to. And I felt like I wanted to minister to the lady that had tremors from medications, because I just really wanted to figure out the root of why she was on those medications and what exactly they were, and her side effects, and why she had so much anxiety and stuff like that. I felt like that one would have been interesting to minister to that person. But really, ultimately, the heart of the healing ministry is just to get them connected to the Father, and just to show them love, and just for them to hear God, and that's the most important thing, rather than if they get healed or not. And I thought that was really cool, because you can really be impactful with just hearing the voice of God versus seeing that immediate healing. But basically, my takeaway was just like, if God touched this person's heart, but they didn't receive healing, we look at that as a loss. But if the person's heart is the most important part, then that's a win. And I feel like that was the most impactful thing that I took away from this practicum experience, was just constantly keeping that your focus, and keeping God's heart your focus, and the other things will just flow from it, and not to stress about, oh, this person has to get healed, and is it really me, my ability? No, it's God's ability. God's the one that heals them, and just pointing them to God, and that's the most important part. But I look forward to next week. The topical class got canceled, which was sad, but I look forward to start shadowing at the healing rooms, which would be really cool. So thanks again. Bye.